Welcome, people, to the World Wide Web. It's midweek, and what does that mean? It's another episode. So we're into double figures. I think we were into double figures last time, so I think this is episode 11 of Look What I Am Watching. So, let's look what I've been watching. Lots of goodness here. Lots and lots of goodness. I have been on one. I'm doing this video a little bit earlier, so this probably would have been bigger. So what have I got for us this week? So we will start, the first one is Her. So this is on my 100 list of movies to watch. So I'm glad. Just over 2 hours. Stars Joaquin Phoenix. And basically this guy, he kind of married his high school sweetheart. They are getting divorced. He writes letters, and basically because he is kind of alone, he develops a relationship with an AI system, which is voiced by Scarlett Johansson. And it is the kind of evolution of them. It is by Spike Jonze. He did. It is basically, I think, if memory serves me right, so Spike Jonze and his wife, there was an event, they had an incident in their lives, and basically his wife did a film, Lost in Translation, also Scarlett Johansson, to kind of reflect that. I don't know if it was an event or a place or something. It was something that they wanted to make, and they did Lost in Translation. And then this is Spike Jonze's. I think it did win an Oscar or something. Academy Awards, best original screenplay, and it went Golden Globe as well. And yeah, it was a really hard one to kind of find when you watch. I hadn't watched a trailer of it, but I do remember seeing little bits of it as I started to, not little bits, but I remember seeing clips that have been out there in the World Wide Web and everywhere else of this film. But unless I'd gone out and bought this because it was on my list, this could have easily flown me by. Now, Joaquin Phoenix, obviously we've all seen him in The Joker, and we've seen him in a lot of stuff. He is really, when it is a very emotional driven film, of when there are a lot of different emotions and feelings and stuff, Joaquin Phoenix, he shines. I get why this is on that 100 list. As I say, I would have easily gone by this if I hadn't known. It is very interesting with the whole AI situation and stuff, and there are other actors and actresses who mention it. I mean, Chris Pratt is in there, Amy Adams is in there, so there are quite a few famous people that pop up in this. But it is really, really good. I won't give any kind of spoilers away, but it is, it just evolves around what it is like to be alone, and potentially the kind of relationships we have. I mean, if anybody has watched any of my videos, you'll know one of my favourite films is Crash, and there's a quote that Don Cheadle says at the beginning of it. It's like, we live our lives in like glass boxes or a shell, and our whole lives are like smashing into people to kind of have the connections and feelings and the stuff that comes from that. And this is very much kind of the similar same of, you understand of how it is to be on your own and what emotions you're afterwards, and how an AI for parts can meet some of those. There are other aspects of it, but yeah, definitely a really good film. So that's Her. So that's the first one we watched. So the next one is Event Horizon. So this is the special edition that Matt from Movies gave me, which I say I have almost 4,200 DVDs, and he managed to send me 2, and I had none of them. So this is based. So the premise is that the Event Horizon is a ship. It is a ship who has a device that can make it travel from one point to another. It kind of opens up a gate to or kind of pass between 2 points. It goes disappearing, and it is tasked, and then basically Lawrence Fishburne, he is tasked with his team to go find the ship, because it goes off to the edge at far reaches of our solar system and disappears for 7 years. When it comes back, his team are to go out and find out what's going on. Sam Neill, he is the guy who designed it, so that is why he is aboard, and then it is more or less set in space. Really good. I said it reminded me of loads of, I'm thinking in the 90s we did have a lot of space stuff. It did remind me very much. Let's start. It's a little bit of a horror type, and if you've seen Hellraiser, you will get the feelings of this, and it is done really well. When I first saw this, I'd never seen Hellraiser, so I wouldn't have picked up on this. Now I've seen Hellraiser. I think I saw it a few years ago, and I saw the last one recently. You get that feeling. It is more relatable to the first one than the newer one, because I rate the first one a lot better. The stuff that happens with it is quite interesting when you read on. So this film should have been about 3 hours long, and the studio cut loads of it. So I think it's Paul Anderson, I want to say, is the director. Yeah, Paul Anderson. He did direct this. Is one of the early works he has done. I say he's edited a lot, and they're trying to find it, and they've lost images, and it's interesting to learn that so much was cut out from here, there, and everywhere. I mean, it's rated at an 18, and for that time, I wouldn't be showing this to young kids. So if you are probably below the age of 15 or something, I definitely wouldn't, even if you were probably above the age of 15, 16, unless you were very mature. It links a lot of graphic stuff of the Hellraiser one, and it's that mindset and those thoughts I wouldn't necessarily want on somebody who's impressionable. So I'd say, and unless you're into sci-fi kind of horror, stay away from this. But if you are into it, it is a very good watch. I mean, Sam Neill, we all know or love from Jurassic Park. That's what he will always be known as. But you see a very different side of him, and Lawrence Fishburne, and there are a few other actors and actresses in there that you'll recognise from other stuff. I don't know their names off the top of my head. But yeah, so it was very good. So thanks again, Matt for Movies, for sending this. Really actually enjoyed watching it, and glad to add it to the collection. And as I say, the special edition is picture of the ship, and it has it on the inside. Actually, let's get it back out and show that picture once again. I'm saying this is a really nice box set. I kind of wish this had like postcards and stuff of some of the stuff from the film. Maybe not some of the stuff further on. I'll take the disc out, and there we have the picture. So that is a really, really nice bit of artwork. Of I'm quite a sci-fi fan. Reminds me a little bit of, I think, Lex, if anybody's ever seen that, or even kind of, you could easily have like a Babylon 5 kind of feel to this one. So let's put everything back there. Yeah, so again, really good film. A lot of some dropping stuff. There's a lot of stuff you probably don't know. So because I have so many DVDs and stuff in my collection, what I normally do is I just pick a random group of films. There may be some I want to see, but there may be some I don't want to see, or something, or not even don't want to see. Like I have no interest at that time. But yeah, it's good because obviously, I was just intrigued in that, and I know it was like an hour and a half film. That was really to watch it, and I say really enjoyed it. So we'll go. So I kind of started the week with this one. So this is one I bought recently from CX. It's Children of the Sea. It cost me a £5, I want to say. It's almost a 2-hour film. It is quite a thinker. So this is the premise of this young girl. She is on break, and for one reason she goes to a aquarium where her dad's work, and she meets 2 young lads who are kind of fish people. They have lived in the water for a long period, their bodies have adapted to it, and then it is kind of symbolic a little bit as stuff goes on, and there are kind of shooting stars. And if you've watched anime films before and you like the ocean, so some stuff is really nice. They have kind of the standard anime drawing, but then there are kind of the faces and some of the eyes, and some of it has kind of a little tweak on it that's a little bit more rougher maybe, or something that's a little bit out there. And to me, it wasn't as visually as appealing as I thought. I did enjoy the story altogether. It was a little confusing in places, but it is what it is. Not every anime can blow you away. I'm glad to have this, to put this in the collection. But yeah, Children of the Sea, so that's another one off the list. And then the last one, so as much as this is opened up, and I will probably do another video on this, is superhero fatigue. We'll talk about it. There's so many films out there, I saw Ant-Man, and if anybody's seen Ant-Man Quantumania video, you can tell it was all right, but it wasn't the best and stuff. Guardians is obviously the next one coming up. Hopefully that will do well. But obviously this is a DVD my wife lent at one of her colleagues and never got it back, so I bought it. So it's obviously the 2-disc special edition glittery cover there of the Incredible Hulk. It's obviously what is essentially the second Marvel MCU film, and obviously ignored. And to be honest, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Going back and revisiting, I really kind of want to watch Iron Man now because I have the steelbook of that one. Um, and yeah, it was so refreshing to sit there and not have everything look, but just all the fatigue and boring. It's just, like you could tell there's a story. They're not, they take their time. And I mean, the CG isn't brilliant, but I must admit, very early on, and you have the Brazilian factory, and you don't really see the Hulk, and it was done so well. Like how they kept him to the shadows first of all, even though he doesn't look as brilliant and as refined as some of the other stuff. I still think they did a really good job with this film. I did like the story. Obviously, it kind of built on that the leader, I think the guy with the big brain, that he would come into it. Liv Tyler was brilliant as Betty Ross. I think she is returning in some of the newer stuff from what I hear. But it is a really well done film. I would say probably the worst thing of this film that I noticed is the person who died. Edward Norton's hair is bad. I know he's blonde and obviously Banner is kind of brown, but they dyed like on dark browny black and stuff, and it's very blatant and stuff and just looks unnatural. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, the fact they kept the parts in of him Hulk rip stuff. I think there was a game and stuff like that where he ripped cars apart and used them as boxing gloves. And that, Abomination was a bit. The overall look of him wasn't the best, and obviously they have altered that in future films. But Tim Roth is very good. He lied to me in a Resident Evil, Reservoir Dogs, and other stuff he's been in is really good. And I think it was a really, really well done film. I think Mark Ruffalo for the kind of kid family version did do better, but on that aspect, but I still really, really love this film. It was refreshing to say I'd happily watch most of them. And to be honest, Matt for the movies, as I mentioned already earlier, I think I may go back and watch the first few films. I might watch 4-1. I might watch Captain. I might do a week where I watch the first of all of the original ones, just to get like that nostalgic feel back of how good Marvel films can be when given like the time and effort to create a good film, not trying to pump stuff out and tick boxes and everything else. So it's a very long film, and I know I'm jabbering on it, and it is a little late at night. So as I started to do, is I've done a kind of a one I really wanted to kind of shine a light on, and this is it. And it isn't a film; it is a series. So obviously they've had the revival series recently that did quite well. I did quite like it, but Liss is such a staple of mine. Liss at one point was the best series of all time in my life to me, and I loved it, and I could watch this endlessly. I've rewatched the series. I forgot how fun it is. It cemented bits that I forgot how good these characters were, how the actors were. It was a perfect blending of everything, of comedy of the 70s, of family. There is a lot of stuff now that you look at it and you couldn't get away with. Now, I know there are a lot of issues with like Danny Masterson and that. I am not thinking about that when I'm watching this. I'm just thinking about that the show's producers and creators got 6 young kids together to create this show with, Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Joe. It is done so well. It is such a laugh and a life. It kind of takes you back to when the elder slightly generation of when we were kids. There wasn't technology. We're not sitting on our phones, but there was, we would all sit around in a living room and sit around in someone's house and chill and stuff like that. And you sometimes had the good parents and the bad, and there was always like the kick-ass, the red character and stuff. Yes, it does feature drugs. I am not promoting drugs in this. I know they never say about it is. It's just kids being kids and silly and laughing about stuff. And if you've ever been a kid and you've been in situations like that, you haven't need to be drinking or smoking or doing anything like that. You just find something, and it just reminisces of that, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to slowly work my way through the whole 8 series, and then hopefully by the time I've done that over a period, we'll get the new one. But I mean, if you haven't, I don't know if they show this on streaming. I'm quite fortunate that I bought the first few, and then some of my really good friends, they used to buy me this every year, so I have it all, and I've lent it to them recently because they watched it just before it, and it is an amazing series. I really, really love it, and it's nice. It's a 20-minute turn off your brain. let's see what its kids get up to. It's silly stuff, it's fun stuff, it's musical. I mean, even in the first series, there was an episode where they go to a wrestling one, and my favourite wrestlers, Matt and Jeff Hardy, they're there. The Rock is there in like his infancy, and it was like kids, you know, a lot of the wrestlers of the 90s are there dressed up as other people, and it was just, you know, there's little bits like that that I missed the first time round, but yeah, so well. So everyone, that is look what I've been watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video and what I've been watching. Please let me know in the comments if you've seen any of this. What are your views? Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? Really, you know, really happy to tell. Maybe is there something that I'm watching there? You know something else that might be good? Please recommend it. Put it down. Subscribe. Do whatever you want. Anyway, I've been Cypher Sigma. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you all having a nice week, and I shall see you in the next one.